Shalom everyone. Tonight I decided to do a video about Sharia law. Now Sharia is Islamic law which is derived from the Quran and Muhammad. As a legal system, Sharia law is actually very broad. It includes such laws as apostasy laws, marital jurisprudence, economic laws, dietary laws, rituals and customs, theological obligations, how a person should dress, just the list goes on. Now, while other legal codes regulate public behavior, Sharia law regulates public behavior, and private individual beliefs as well. Now, compared to other legal codes, Sharia prioritizes punishments as opposed to rehabilitation, for instance. They also favor and support, Sharia also favors and supports corporal and capital punishments over, let's say, incarceration. Now, I do want to bring up the UK for a few seconds because in 2008, well, unfortunately, the UK actually recognised Sharia law courts. Today, it is actually said that there are over 130 Sharia law courts in the UK, and that those courts have actually been issuing rulings that go against the British UK common law. Now, Muslims in the UK, I think it was, in around 2011, the British Muslims there have actually demanded that Sharia law be the law of the land or the towns that the majority of Muslims are in. And they sort of demanded that, Sharia law be replaced by, that Sharia law replace the British common law. And I think that's actually kind of the problem because, most Muslims are in support for making Sharia law the law of the land pretty much everywhere. And I know that most, or if not all, radical or fundamentalist Muslims, that's kind of their goal. Their goal is to introduce and bring about Sharia law. And, mostly because, those Muslims believe that Sharia is, that Sharia actually comes from God himself, which is quite sad. Now, I do want to read some crimes and punishments, of Sharia law that I've written down. And of course, there are many more. But I think these are the ones that I wrote down that have quite a big, or have quite importance, should I say. So, they're not it's not a lot, but yeah, it's 2 pages. So, the first one is criticizing or denying any part of the Quran is punishable by death in Islam. Criticizing Muhammad or denying that he is a prophet is a punishable offense by death. Criticizing or denying Allah is punishable by death. And I read these first 3 and I think, oh wow, if Sharia law was to, become law in Australia, which it might be one day, I will probably be dead because of those 3 things, because those 3 things I have been doing for quite a long time now. But anyway, we'll go on. So a non-Muslim who leads a Muslim away from Islam is punishable by death. Next one, a non-Muslim man who marries a Muslim woman is punishable by death. A woman or girl who has been raped cannot testify in court against her rapist. And they say that Islam liberates women. Testimony of 4 male witnesses are required to prove rape of a female. A woman or girl who alleges rape without producing 4 males or 4 male witnesses is guilty of adultery. A male convicted of rape can have his conviction dismissed by marrying his victim, which is kind of creepy in itself. Muslim men have sexual rights to any woman or girl not wearing a hijab, and a hijab is a head covering. So if a woman is not wearing a head covering, Muslim men have sexual rights to pretty much rape her. A man can marry an infant girl and consummate the marriage when she is 9 years old. Girls' clitoris should be cut, and it's and those are Muhammad's words. And the proof is in book 41, Kitab al-Adab, Hadith 5251, just in case anyone wants to read it or thinks that I'm making it up, which most Muslims will be thinking that anyway. We'll go on. It says a man can beat his wife for insubordination. A woman's testimony in court, allowed in property matters, carries half the weight of a man's. The meat to eat must come from the animals that have been sacrificed to Allah. And this is one of my favorites. Muslims should engage in taqiyya and lie to non-Muslims to advance Islam. Yes, lying in Islam is allowed to non-Muslims to, gain the non-Muslim or the unbeliever's trust. Yay. Now, the penalty for apostasy is death by beheading. Something to look forward to. Just kidding. Sorry. That was mean of me. Sorry. Penalty for drinking alcohol is between 40 to 80 lashes, or death by beheading, depending on how many times you actually got caught drinking. Penalty for adultery is death by stoning. Penalty for fornication is 100 lashes plus 1 year banishment. Penalty for homosexuality is death by stoning. Penalty for fighting against jihadists is death by beheading. Penalty for blasphemy is death by beheading. Penalty for drug smuggling is death by beheading. Penalty for theft varies depending on the offence and how many times you actually got caught. But the penalty, like I said, can vary, whether it be amputation of hands and feet or pretty much, death by beheading. Penalty for espionage is death by beheading. Penalty for witchcraft and sorcery is also death by beheading. And the last one that I wrote is penalty for abandoning prayer is also death by beheading. So even Muslims, or people who claim to be Muslim, and they are caught out, not praying, they too will, lose their heads. And I don't want that to sound, sarcastic and stuff, but it's, if you're abandoning prayer, death by beheading. So it's not just, non-Muslims, but it's also Muslims who are going to, be punished under Sharia law. And there are a couple of videos by Linda Sarsour that I watched, and, she's very much into, let's bring about Sharia law, and I just think, and you're a woman and you're saying that, like, are you sure? But, when I read, or go through all these, punishments for all these crimes, I just think of the true vast differences between, our faith. Here you have mere men, human beings who have or, who will be carrying out these punishments for these crimes for Allah. Mere human beings. And these things are already even happening in, in the Middle East, and there's so many Christians that are, being beheaded as well, that not many people speak about. And I just think, why would your God want mere humans to carry out these punishments for you? Our Elohim says vengeance is his. Yeshua also tells us, in Matthew 5:9, blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. And what a vast difference. And I really, really pray that I can at least make one Muslim, think about, their religion and their faith. And I really pray that all Muslims really can come to Father Yahweh and accept Yeshua Messiah and get to know him, before it's too late. because, you know, in my opinion, Sharia law will come to pass. You know, as I used to say, I used to joke around and I'm like, Sharia law coming to a town near you very soon, and I don't think anyone deserves to be punished, whether Muslim or non-Muslim, with these things. You know, like I said, vengeance is God's, and yeah, we shouldn't have to deal with this. So that's my video for the night. I will work on, or I'm thinking about working on, the third part of my testimony, which is, you know, how I came to observing the Torah, and I think I'll be working on that next. So yes, thank you for watching, and until next time, shalom.